Hey, how's it going? Happy Saturday. How's everyone doing? Man, you guys are early. Some people were super early. How's it going? Let me get everything adjusted real quick. How's everybody doing? It's Saturday. Happy Saturday. What is going on? Man, no route. First, you were super early. You were like 6 minutes early. Still not used to this yet. I don't see myself in the mirror that much, and I think I see myself on YouTube more than the mirror, so I'm like, whoa, who is that? And not that I watch my own YouTube videos, but I kind of have to. When I'm exploring stuff and going through comments, they just are everywhere. But anyways, how's it going? What are you guys working on? Happy Saturday. Man, Christmas is coming up. It's what, this week? Yeah, it is. No route first. Yeah, you were. Quinn. Oh, close second. That was a real close second. How's it going, man? How you doing? Melon Dice. Clap, clap, clap. Yes, how are you? No route, LOL, didn't expect anyone to be here yet. Yeah, I didn't expect you to be there either. Yeah, either. Man, how's your Saturday going? No route, got to get those glasses nice and sparkly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I get so much junk on my glasses. Actually, I know how this happened. So last night we went to the store, and when I left, it was kind of raining / snowing. It was just like sleet. And so it was just like all over on my glasses. I was like, whatever. And then they were fogged up, obviously, because I was wearing a mask and everything was fogged up. I got in the car, so I just threw them on the dash. And then I realized, oh my gosh, these things are so dirty. So anyways, yeah, it's, I noticed though, since working from home, I rarely have to clean my glasses because like, you know, the commute into downtown and working and rain and whatever else that's in the air, just like totally, you know, messes up my glasses. And so anyways, since I've been working from home, I haven't had to worry about that. So I clean them less often, but yeah, they were a mess. I was surprised I even could see through them before I started cleaning them. So, hey, Aster, whoa. Aster, oh, I got to get this one right. Aster Z1. Hey, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Prime sub. Thank you so much. How's it going? Oh, my lights. I'm so kind of glad my lights are working. I'm really glad. One not so much, but the other one's working for sure. Hey, Melon Dice, let me turn that down. It's probably blasting your guys' ears out. Melon Dice, wow, thank you so much. 100 bits, cheer, 100 bits. Thank you. You get to see my purple Mega Man. Really get to see that guy. But I spent way too much time configuring all of my Mega Man GIFs or GIFs, however you say it. I know I say GIF. I know I'm sure people say GIF. But anyways, I spent way too much time recoloring all of those according to bits, and I love seeing it. So anyways, it's spent way too much time. Anyway, Takano, how's it going, man? Good to see you, dude. Happy Saturday. Struggling with the glasses, yeah. Like I said, they were a mess. Sometimes sometimes they're a mess on YouTube too, and I'm like, oh, it distracts me when I watch my video and review it. I'm like, oh man, really spots all over my glasses, but no one probably notices that but me. Because I look like way beyond the normal stuff. And then I miss the obvious stuff, like, oh, you just said that thing twice, or you just said totally the wrong thing. So I miss the obvious, but I pick out the very discreet things, whatever. Ilude, banana, yeah, banana's working. So what do we have working today? We have lights in the room working. We have channel points working. We have alerts working. For any type of alert, and the bot's working with banana. Yeah, so it's a good day in the Techno household for sure. Because man, at any given day, most of that stuff will not work. And even my Hue lights, man, I don't know what's up with Philips Hue. Like I've had zero problems for a long time. Like it's been fantastic. I programmed all my lights, and then the last 2 days, Philips Hue, I cannot connect the out of home portion of Hue, which I guess is no big deal for me because I never control my lights from out of home using the Philips Hue app, but it was just weird to me. And so that's what I've been playing with. And like last night at 1:30 in the morning, I'm like, yeah, I'll just reset my Philips Hue. Oh, wrong answer. Wrong answer. Normally that would be kind of okay, but it reset all of my scenes, reset all of my bulbs, reset my API keys, reset my user information. So I had to redo everything. So I'm glad everything's working. No route bot is working, yes for sure. Takano, custom painting a PS4, gonna be a gift. Nice, dude. What colors? What are you going for? Melon Dice, gonna stand up WireGuard on RKE. Nice. Yeah, I would love to see I would love to see the final form of that, especially when you get metal LB and traffic, however you're mapping that TCP, UDP, those packets. I think it's only UDP. But anyways, how you're mapping those packets to your ingress controller. And if you're going to use traffic, super interested in that. And RKE, how do you like it? Haven't done anything with RKE, to be honest, to be completely honest. Zumatro, I'm installing Gentoo. Nice. I've done 0 on Gentoo. I know it exists. That's about it. What do you like about it? Why'd you choose Gentoo? Curious. Tagano, it's gonna be a Hello Kitty theme build. Nice, man. Nice. So just white and pink, right? Yeah, I'd love to see it, man. You gotta post a picture when you're done for sure. iLude just got Proxmox to boot a custom cloud init image. Awesome. That is awesome. I've been looking into that a little bit recently too. Started last night looking into it, looked into it again this morning. Might have something real quick for it too, because I use a clone, but if I could, I would love to use a fresh build system every time and then configure cloud init. So then I don't have to use a clone. I just do cloud init with all the things I want. And then automate the rest with Ansible when it's done. Sounds awesome. So yeah, let me know, iLude, how do you like cloud init? I was looking through Proxmox documentation. Seems pretty straightforward. It seems pretty straightforward as far as like high level stuff, but I didn't see a ton of details. I was like, okay, so I got to figure out all these pieces. But anyways, that's part of the fun, right? Par 4 Noir, Advent of Cyber 2020. Hey, how's it going, Par? I think that's Par 4 Noir. Wow, the A is a 4 and sometimes not a 4, but let me know. Fathead, hey, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while, and I'm calling you Fathead because you told me a long time ago to call you Fathead for FT head. Nothing at all. Need to code some, but I'm lazy. Nice. Yeah, I hear you. I have some code projects I want to do. And I feel like lately I've just been doing break fix stuff at home. Break fix, migrate. And so I have a lot of stuff I want to do, like new development stuff I want to do, but oh man, I got to get caught up. I think my network upgrade still is I think I'm done, quote unquote, with most of my network upgrade stuff. Now I got some Kubernetes stuff to figure out, as you can see. But what are you working on, Fathead? Curious. iLude, automate all the things. Yeah, I'm a big fan of automating stuff. As you can tell from my lights, my garage door, some of my other lights, my Christmas lights right now, they're all automated. They're all automated. I wish I had a little bit more though. Some sensitivity, some motion detection with lights and stuff like that. My cameras are, but not lights. I haven't gotten that far yet. My garage lights up though, but that's part of the garage door opener. I would like all the lights to turn on in the garage. If there is motion, and I think that's kind of going to be my next one, because I spend very little time in there, and when I am in there, I want the lights on, even if it's midday, because I have 0 windows in there. But yeah, awesome. Let me know what you think about automating, iLude. Curious. No route. I made a dial-up server with a Raspberry Pi, mGetty, PPPPD, that's a lot of P's, and some modems to get my old iMac G4 online. I love the dial-up sounds. Yeah, I every time I hear it, it brings back memories of just being a kid hearing the dial-up sound and then just thinking like I'm gonna hear welcome, like AOL's old thing, and then the next thing for me was always just like, Mom, I'm on the internet. I don't know, dial-up. Yeah, when you're younger and had dial-up, it never failed. My mom would pick up the phone, hello, and I'm like, oh. Then the next thing you hear is goodbye from AOL. I was like, oh, Mom, I'm on the internet. We weren't one of those fortunate ones that or people that had 2 lines for their dial-up. No way. We had 1, and we were big house fighting for phone time for sure. Mariva, working on getting Christmas going while in quarantine. Awesome. What? Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's a little bit different this year, as most things are. What do you mean by getting Christmas going? Are you talking about lights? Are you talking about decorations, or just preparing for the holiday? Maybe getting together, meeting people? Yeah, let me know. Probably kids, presents, all that stuff. Melodice, Tim, here's a question for you. You've stood up Kate's cluster with RKE, and with K3s. Is there any use cases where you'd use RKE versus K3s? Any guidelines for one is better than the other? So I haven't done, I technically haven't done RKE because I think when you install the Docker install of Rancher, it actually spins up, I think, K3s within Docker containers. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it does. And so there are some nuanced differences between the two. I haven't done any RKE. I've looked at the documentation. I know they have documentation out there talking about some of the differences, and they're very nuanced. Like when I read through them, I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'll ever need that. But I will say, so I think it's better to talk about the reasons why I'm choosing K3s now is because one, it's super lightweight. Two, I can get high availability with only 2 API servers, right? Because I have a MySQL backend. It's kind of nice. 3, it can run on ARM or low power devices. That's kind of nice too. Some of my workers or some of my API servers can run on ARM. That's kind of nice too. I'm sure RKE kind of can. And so that's why I'm choosing it, because it's a very lightweight Kubernetes distribution. And I thought I'd give it a spin. I've been doing Docker installs for a long time. I even did, 1x Rancher prior to 2x. And so, I was thinking, okay, maybe in the future I might have some Raspberry Pis around. I might, and of course I could get, Docker running on those Raspberry Pis and then do a Docker install or install the Rancher agent and spin up, an agent or another Kubernetes server there using the Docker install. But I was like, I'm going to try K3s because, I hear lots of good things about it. So this is my next kind of evolution and journey is going with high availability. And so, I knew this was coming for a long time, but I had to prepare for it. Part of that was networking, part of that was servers, and now the next part is the actual implementation. And so, I've kind of been slowly rolling some pieces out. But at the end of the day, is one better than the other? I think the question you have to ask yourself is just like, what do you expect from them? And do they provide that? And then on top of that, how easy is it for you to support? Because at the end of the day, they're going to give you the same thing. They might do it a little bit differently, but you're going to end up having to support it. So really long answer to you just have to evaluate both and evaluate your needs. That's why I chose K3s. I've never done plain old RKE before. Yeah, throwing it all out there. Aster Z1. Hey, doing fine. How about you? Hey, I'm good. Good to see you. Redo Strike. Good evening. Hey, how's it going? Gigafied. Oh yeah. Oh hey. Stream. Yeah. Oh yeah. Happy Saturday. Aster Z1. Working on setting up my MacBook I bought myself for Christmas. Nice. So nice. I assume it's one of the M1 chips. Congratulations. Sounds pretty awesome. Yeah, how do you like it? I bet it's pretty awesome. I know I have a MacBook Pro, and I enjoy the thing. And I recently updated to Big Sur, pretty okay, pretty non-eventful. Actually, it was kind of, I don't want to say painful, not as painful as Catalina. That upgrade was just like, I was dealing with things for weeks after. Big Sur, kind of a non-event, and that's how I like big releases to be. But 11.1, the Big Sur update, which they just released, I think, a couple of days ago, fixed a lot of things I was seeing with software development and the iOS simulator, where it was just like totally destroying my CPU. But anyways, congrats on the new Mac. Sounds pretty awesome. No route. You get any snow snow there? Lucky, no snow yet here in the Netherlands just yet. Yeah, we got a light. So if I think about from fall until now, we got a couple inches a few times, all melted. And then we got a dusting of snow, I think last week, gone. So we're actually pretty lucky. I know East Coast and Northeast especially is getting a ton of snow. We're not here in the Midwest. Been pretty lucky, and we're pretty far north too. So it's kind of odd. Everyone else is getting snow but us, and we're traditionally, people think of our state as getting a ton of snow. Well, we're not. Gigafied, doubt we're ever getting any snow ever again. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I feel like it's going to be a green Christmas. I could look at the calendar right now and know, or at the forecast and know, but I'm just afraid to look because I like snow. My thing is, if it's cold enough, it may as well snow. That's my thing. And it's nice to look at from inside. It's similar to, I don't do well with heat, but a lot of people say the hotter the better. And I'm just like, not for me, and I guess people will probably think that same thing about me when I'm like, yeah, I love snow, but I don't go out in it. It's kind of how I feel like when people are like, yeah, the hotter the better. And then they're like in their AC home and drive to work in their AC. And then they go to work in their AC. And I'm like, oh man, I've had decades where I didn't have air conditioning. So the hotter the better is not fun if you don't have a way to mitigate the heat. But anyways, I'm rambling. Difficult name, I know. I got to get it right. I'm going to go with Aster Z1. Aster Z1. Aster Z1. That's what I'm going with. Takano, also dad's doing really well. Awesome. That's awesome. He's still on a ventilator, but currently sitting at him doing 60% of the breathing while the other machines assist on the 40%. Wow, that's still, man, versus the other day where he was sitting at 100% oxygen was provided by a ventilator. Man, that's, I'm sorry to hear that, Takano. Well, I'm sorry to hear that he's still recovering, but awesome. That's good news. That he's doing 60% of better, I guess, than he was before. So, man, good to hear it. Still sad. Hope he gets better. Please page Dr. Tiny Cat. All right. Hubby needs a new script to automate his invoices. All right. The Digital Life. Hey, Tim, how are you doing? You need to shave again. Haha. I know it's coming back. And like, I barely get any facial hair, but it is starting to come back. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it off. I've had, scruff for a long time and then I let it really go, during quarantine. But I think I'm going to do somewhere in between. We'll see. I don't know. I might shave a couple more times just because it's almost like a novelty now for me to shave. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is what shaving cream is. And oh yeah, I don't own any razors anymore. I got to go buy those. So I don't know. I'm going to try it out. Jimmo. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. T. Groutman. I'm a fan of Stargate, Atlantis, David Hewitt, Rodney McKay from the Sci-Fi Show, which has a Twitch channel. Nice. Anyway, David was talking about liking your channel, Techno Tim. Whoa, that's pretty awesome. I'm surprised anyone even knows who I am. So, hey, that's awesome that David Hewlett said he likes my channel. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Tell him I said hello. Madsen Bande. I'm going with that. Greetings from Germany. Hey, greetings from the United States. How are you doing? Welcome. Glad you're here. Dev Cyclops. All right. I'm liking digging these names. A combination of tech and fantasy. All right. Trying to get a TrueNAS. I assume that's TrueNAS working with storage for dynamic volumes. I assume that's TrueNAS. Trying to get TrueNAS working with a storage class for dynamic volumes. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. So Dev Cyclops, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're basically trying to get, if I understand this correctly, create a storage class in Kubernetes that points to TrueNAS, and you're trying to get that working. Because I've been there. It's tough. And so that one of the cool things that I didn't know about until I looked into it is that TrueNAS actually supports Minio, and so Minio is an S3 like object store. So in Amazon AWS, you can get S3 storage, and there's an open source project called Minio, which implements, I think, the same spec. TrueNAS actually supports that, and I'm there with you. I've been struggling with it too, because that's something I've been working on kind of behind the scenes, and I think it all boiled down to the client and some storage class doesn't accept self-signed certificates. I don't know. That's as far as I got. And so I need more time to dedicate to it. But Deb Cyclops, let me know what it is you're having problems with. We might be on a similar path right now. Love to share some information. Instant 234. Saw your haircut a while ago. Made me realize I've never seen you without a cap. Yeah, my hair is well, see, I mean, it's crazy right now. Well, actually, it's cut now, but this is what happens. This is why, like, once I go hat, I can't go back. That's what I always say, because I have curly hair, and so if I put on a hat, there's no going back until I take a shower and wash it again or do something, because it's just never the same. So right now, this is totally Kramer hair right now. It's just everywhere. But yeah, I used to shave my head for a long time, and then during, the whole quarantine, I was just like, I'm gonna grow my hair out. Why not? I mean, I've done so many other things I haven't done in years. Let's try this. Dev Cyclops, True Naz, yeah, I see. So we might be talking about the same thing. Let me know if it's Minio, if you're trying out Minio, because it's interesting for sure. I've been trying to get it to work too. Takano, so the controller is going to have to be the bottom piece to be matte white. Okay, the bottom piece to be matte white, top to be a light glossy pink with white buttons. Then a PS4 will all be painted the same light pink, but with a Hello Kitty drawn on the top with hearts surrounding the whole drawing. That sounds really awesome, man. Who is it for? This sounds sweet. I want it. No, I would totally do it myself. I'm not saying I want yours, but I want that design on something, because that sounds awesome. Hey, Instant234, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. It sounds awesome, Takano. Christian Josias, hey, how's it going? Happy Saturday. Hey, yeah, lights are working. Hey, Christian Josias, thanks for redeeming those points. Thanks for earning them and redeeming them. And this is my favorite. This is my favorite theme. I mean, you guys can obviously change it to whatever you want, but the Tokyo Nights one, I don't know. It's just such a good contrast. I don't know. I got to work on the blue. I think there's blue behind me. I got to work on it. I had to redo them all last night. Like I said, I reset my Hue Hub, factory reset it, and with that goes all your scenes too, which is not fun. I wish I had a way to back up and export those, but whatever. I should be using Home Assistant for that, right? Navigob, hey, how's it going? Hey, Tim, was going to work on my virtual stuff, but ended up playing The Room on Oculus for the past couple of hours. Really need to get back into the server stuff, LOL. Yeah, I really need to get back into the gaming stuff. I have some time off over the next couple of weeks, so hopefully I can play a game. I think this is my longest dry spell of not playing a game in my entire life. I don't think, I mean, I've touched a game console because, we watch Netflix and stuff on my Xbox. And I've touched a controller because that's how I control the Xbox to play media. But I need to play a game. So, hey, keep playing games. Server stuff will be there when you get back for sure. It's a lot human. Hey, Tim, how's it going? Good to see you. Melondice, I'll report back how I set up the routing for WireGuard through MetaLB. Yeah, that would be awesome. Probably go with traffic and put it on its own IP. Hey, Kintech. Hey, thanks for the sub. Thank you so much. Subscribe, Prime. Thank you so much. Thanks for this Prime sub. Thank you. I think I said that 3 times, but I really mean it. Thank you so much, Kintech. Is that Kintech? I want to say Kinetic, but Kintech looks like. Milandice, yes, please report back, because I think a lot of people in our Discord community ask that all the time. Hey, I need to set up something on MetaLB that's not port 80 or 443, basically TCP ports. And I need to map that through MetaLB back to traffic, back to my pod. So yeah, for sure, Milandice, if you can, that would be awesome. Aster Z, oh gosh, I gotta get this one right. Astert Z1. I'm gonna go with Aster Z1, and I'll leave I'll barely pronounce the T. Do I use Home Assistant for automating? I kind of used to. But I've since stopped, and it's kind of a long story. But for my automating right now, I write all the code myself. It would probably be way easier to use Home Assistant for that, right? Because then I wouldn't have to write code and maintain Docker containers or containers and keep them in Kubernetes and do all the crazy stuff I do, but I kind of like it. So I used to use Home Assistant, but it's still there, still in my infrastructure, and I actually have it set up, and I have a couple of themes set up, and a couple of automations there for my light mode and dark mode. But I don't know. I'm not blaming them, but it doesn't work with my Nest thermostats, a lot of Google stuff. Because Google, right? Because Nest basically did away with their Works with Nest program. And then, I know that Home Assistant has some really creative ways to make it work. Like you log in, and they basically scrape, Google, or scrape your cookies from a Google site, save those cookies, and then use those cookies to do things to Google site. So this is 3-month-old knowledge, so it might have changed since then. But then they do that, and I felt like it just wasn't the most robust solution for me. So unless I switch, thermostats and smoke alarms and everything I have that's Nest, I'm only getting a small fraction of the functionality from Home Assistant that I really want. And so once I get that functionality from someone, it'll probably be Home Assistant. I'll revisit it for sure. And so again, nothing wrong with Home Assistant. It's not their fault. It's Google's fault. Totally Google's fault. I mean, I have the same problem. If I want to add it to my HomeKit or to my Apple HomeKit stuff, same thing. I mean, Nest used to be a little more friendlier when it came to working with outside APIs, and now they've closed it all up. So who knows what this will bring. But yeah, I'm definitely Home Assistant still here in my repertoire, just not used like it used to be. Will be soon if we can figure out the thermostat stuff or anything with Nest, or I just rip it all out and switch thermostats altogether. But that could happen if I move. I doubt in here I'm going to, because I have a lot more than usual just because the way old homes are designed. So I can't go and buy 3 thermostats, multiple smoke alarms and all that. Otherwise, I totally would. Quinn, what's good use for a Pentium 4? I just discovered there's no x86 Kubernetes distro, so my plan is off. Ooh, Pentium 4, I don't know. Is K3s? I mean, K3s works on ARM. So there might be a Linux distribution that you can run K3s on. I forget which one it is that supports x86. You'll have to Google it. So if that's your plan, yeah, that one's tough. You might look to see if K3s supports x86. I thought there was like one old distribution of Linux, some flavor, that would allow you to run K3s on x86. I don't remember. Check it out. But man, what else can you do? That one's tough. On an x86 processor? Yeah, I don't know. That one's tough for sure. I'll get back to you on that for sure, because I don't have any ideas off the top of my head, but I wish I did. McDoka. MC Doka. Hello, Tim. Hey, everybody. How's it going? McMarcus. Hey, Tim. What do you use to separate firewalls for your network? Isn't it the Ubiquiti Dream Machine Pro enough? Yeah, it is. What do I use? I mean, I use a Unified Dream Machine Pro. From there, I have a switch, and from the, and Unified Dream Machine Pro is where I configure my VLANs, my firewall rules, and that deploys it all to my switch ports, yada, 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 etc. And so it is enough, kind of, sort of. You might want to consider an OS level or an application OS level, I guess I should say, firewall too. Because, if you think about it, it just depends. So if you have an operating system that then lives on one of those VLANs and you only want to, expose a few ports or no ports, you'll have to go at, an application level or OS level firewall then. And so on some of my servers that live in VLANs, yeah, I then turn on the firewall from them and only open up the holes, poke holes in the OS level firewall of the ports that should be open. So that's just another layer of protection. So, your firewall, obviously from the internet, will protect you from the internet. Then once you start VLANing stuff, then you'll have to create firewall rules to protect VLANs from communicating with each other. And then on top of that, if you want to, you can slice and dice that VLAN or that subnet up or block devices from communicating with each other if you can configure a firewall at the operating system level. I know that IoT devices, that's out the window because you don't have control over that. But that's, again, why you put those on a separate VLAN. But yeah, that's high level kind of how mine works. For any OS that's on a network that I absolutely do not trust, firewall's up. And then some machines that are on firewalls where I do trust, firewall's still up for everything that's not on that subnet. So public. In Windows, they call it public, which is basically anything that's not the subnet that you're on now. So yeah, a combination of all that stuff. How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? But once you do it, it's not that bad. And in servers or whatever those systems are on other networks, you're only going to end up poking open a few holes on that OS firewall anyways. High five 11. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. You know, if you think about it, if you have a Linux server that's on some subnet somewhere, some VLAN, you're like, well, how do I communicate with it? SSH. Okay, so I got to open up port 22 or whatever port you configure it for. What other incoming ports does it need? Not much. Okay, so why not have the firewall on? You know? And so that's kind of my approach is like, I'd rather, you know, go with the most restrictive approach and then open firewall rules when I need. But it's going to take some additional configuration for sure. iLood, Home Assistant and or Node-RED to do the home automation stuff. Yeah, for sure. I agree. That sounds awesome. Chicano, you've got mail. Yeah, that's the AOL. That's burned in my brain forever. That, and like I said, when my mom would pick up the phone and I'd hear hello, and then I hear every door close at the same time, like that squeaky door close on AOL Instant Messenger, all at the same time, then goodbye. And I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, I'm on the internet. Anyway, Navy Cup, question for everyone. Want to do a basic blog? Want to do a basic blog? I need to learn to read, but don't want to put a ton of work into it and self-host. Would you still go with WordPress or something else? Good question. I've done a couple of, this is how I get started in self-hosting. My own stuff was blog stuff. WordPress, always a good choice. I mean, always a decent, WordPress is like a really robust solution, but it's going to take some configuration. You're going to need MySQL for your backend or some data store to store all of your content in. Then of course, you're going to need PHP. You're going to need all the things. And so there are many ways to install that. You can install it just on a plain old virtual machine. You could do a Docker container like I do. Super easy. Map some stuff. At least for me, it's easy. Map some stuff and it just works. Point it to a MySQL database and you're off and going. But there are also other easy, a little more work on you, but a little less infrastructure type approaches too. And those are things like Hugo and Jekyll, so static site generators that will basically generate static files for you if you write Markdown. And so, is that for everyone? No, because then you got to learn Markdown and write Markdown. It's not that hard. For me, I develop software, so like writing Markdown is pretty easy because all of my documentation is usually in Markdown. But you could use something like that, a static site generator, if you want to go that route, because then you don't need a data store because you're generating static files and you can deploy those to just like a simple Nginx container and it's up and running. It doesn't even have to be Nginx. It can be anywhere. It can be anywhere as long as you have, index.html and index.js, and it will take care of the rest for you. But then, like I mentioned, there's WordPress, there's Ghost, there's Drupal, I don't even know if Joomla is still a thing, but it used to be. So there are all those choices too. But yeah, if you want to talk some more about those, I've done a ton of them. Let me know in Discord or something. Sly Human, I finally could add the 12 terabyte and migrate my Z pool from RAID 0 to RAID 1 without losing data in TrueNAS. Hey, it's a good day. It's a good day. Now you have some redundancy. All right, congratulations. Melon Dice, RKE is super easy. Yeah, that's what I hear. For sure. Instant 234. We had a twin ISDN until my dad got his first bill. I was online almost 24/7 for months. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's awesome. You were blazing. Twin ISDN. Morvia. I've said that wrong for so long until now. Morvia. Probably saying it wrong still now. Don't mean to. Just preparing the whole stuff. Kids need to be made happy. So no tech projects for me lately. Too much stuff to do, but it's fine. Family first these days. I hear you for sure. It should always be, and I hear you. Tech projects blast, because those are kind of like, do I really need to like migrate all my infrastructure? Is it working right now? It's totally fine. I need to tell myself that more often too, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do like everything before it's done, and so I need to take that same advice. Melon Dice, RKE, no current support for RPI. Yeah, it's a Raspberry Pi. Another reason why I was saying like I was going to go with K3s because I want the option. I want that option is to be able to run Kubernetes agent or even one of the API servers on a Raspberry Pi. Instant. I have a cheap NUC, more powerful, still low power, but more flexible than a Pi in my opinion. Yeah, I totally agree. I still have an old NUC too. I turn it on every now and then. I love that thing. Love that thing. That was actually one of the first tech videos I ever did. Was, hey, oh, it looks like we got a couple in there. Sorry I didn't call it out. Dr. Cheese Weasel, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Don't cry so much. 21, don't cry so much. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Yeah, Intel NUCs, I love them. I bought one of the first i5 Intel NUCs. Hey, Lost Cause. Thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Hans Sanitizer, I like it. Thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome. Yeah, so Intel NUCs, I love them. I have, I think, one of the first ones that was an i5 based ones, or at least one of the earlier ones. I still have it, I love it. And that was one of the first like tech videos I ever did. I think it is on YouTube. I think it is. It's like on a personal channel. And I did a video of like converting my old Windows Media Center, huge machine to an Intel NUC. And that's where I was like, this is kind of fun. And I did it with a little point and shoot camera with a, tripod and everything. Anyways, but yeah, Intel NUCs are fantastic. I love them. I need some more in my life. Marvia, after the holidays, I will build my new server. Looking forward to it. Nice. What are you going with? Instant, a Pi, when you get done, buying all the accessories for it is more expensive than the cheap NUC version. Yeah, I agree. I will agree with that too. When you go all in, and I get it. You can reuse some stuff. Maybe you got an SD card laying around. Do you really need, heat spreaders on it? Do you really need the Black Ice $20 case? Do you really need the, power supply, the official one, when you go all in with Raspberry Pis, they get to be, kind of pricey. But still, I mean, definitely cheaper than a server, but they're getting close to NUC prices, when you really outfit them with what you need to run. Jeez. Madsen Banday. Hey, thanks for the sub. Really appreciate it. Prime sub. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Again, thanks for the support. Appreciate it. Melon Dice, thanks to your thoughts on K3s versus RKE. A lot of acronyms in there. My use case is just the home server stuff. So I guess it's what I rolled out already. RKE is fine. Yeah, totally. And this came up in Discord today. And so I just want to be totally clear that, I say this a lot, but maybe not enough. And so, a lot of people will say, well, Swarm I love Swarm. I'm going to use Swarm. And, Docker is great. And I'm going to use only Docker. Or, I'm going to use Compose, or I'm going to use XYZ or anything like that. And I think all of that is totally fine, especially for home. At the end of the day, you're the one that has to support this thing. And you're the one that hopefully is excited to build and support and play and tinker with these things and these services. And so I never want anyone to think, oh, well, hey, Tim just did this thing on RK, or I didn't do RKE, but K3s or whatever it is. And now I got to switch all my infrastructure to it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I agree with that sentiment right there, as you're saying, hey, I already have RKE and it's fine. Totally agree. RKE is totally fine. Use what works best for you. Use what you're passionate about. Use what you know. And if you ever want to tinker and explore, just know, hey, I've got some stuff there for you to look at or explore. If not, keep doing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, you got to support it. And there might be people in your house that depend on these services you're running at home. And so, I just wanted to call out real quick that, like, if I ever do something that's contradictory to what you're doing, don't think that means that you're doing something wrong or that it's not as popular. Most of the stuff I do is not popular at all. So you can always look at me and just say, yeah, he does some really off the wall stuff. Probably not the best thing to do, And so, but yeah, take it with a grain of salt. And remember, you're the one supporting this thing. You're the one that should be excited about these things that you work on. And so use what works best for you. I guess that's all I can say. Super double A. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. So don't think because, hey, Tim, so far, I've been doing Docker installs of Rancher, and now Tim releases this Rancher HA video. Now I got to redo everything. You don't have to. Absolutely, you don't have to. Because at the end of the day, you're using Rancher. I mean, the capability you're getting from it isn't to run Rancher, right? It's to run all the services that you have running within Kubernetes and somehow getting all of those to work with all of your infrastructure at home. And so, Rancher is just an enabler, right? And so think of it like an enabler. Rancher is an enabler to enable Kubernetes, and even Kubernetes is an enabler to enable services to run. And so, at the end of the day, if you have those services running at home, yeah, there's no need ever to redo your infrastructure unless that's what you're passionate about, unless that's what you want to do, and you're like, yeah, I've been waiting for this. Let's do this, And so, hopefully that sticks with some of you, because I never want you to think like, man, that Tim, I just did the Docker one. Now I got to do this HA one, and don't think that, just laying out some options for people. And I debate even releasing some of those or talking about some of those, but I want my stuff to be rounded and tell both sides of the story. And I know ranchers like, don't use this for production. Well, home production is kind of production too, to me. You know what I mean? If my Plex isn't working, I'm gonna hear about it. If my lights back there aren't working, I'm gonna hear about it. And so, so I've used and still do use the Docker version of Rancher for production, my home production, right? And it's super solid. So anyways, I'm rambling. I just wanted to clear the air with that one and just say, use what works best for you. Don't think you have to redo infrastructure every time I talk about something else. Just laying out some options. Navy Cop, all rain and just not looking forward. All rain and just not looking to work in mud and bog. So all inside stuff for the moment. Having lived in Montana, snow is great. On a postcard, a TV commercial, a travel poster, LOL. Yeah, I hear you. And it's great to look out. It's nice to look outside and see snow. Yeah, I'm totally that person now. I enjoy being out in it though. Like I will at any point in time, just throw on some boots and a jacket, dressed for the occasion. And I'm like, yes, this is great. When I was a kid, I used to just go outside and just lay in the snow and look up. Like I loved it. Kind of still that way, but just not enough opportunities for it. Hey, Bam knocked him. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. But I hear you, Navy Cop. It's the older I get, the nicer it is to look out instead of be inside, out in it, especially driving. That's no fun. Hey, Mitchie H, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Zoid 25, question. I have an HA RKE setup that Rancher deployed for me on my bare metal nodes. I was originally running the Rancher Docker one on one of those nodes, but now I want to set up Rancher to be run on a k3s cluster. Can I just add the chart repo and deploy my Rancher and then import my existing cluster and then delete my Docker instance? I like how this is going. Maybe. So basically you have RKE running, you have Docker running on a single node. You have Rancher running on a single node. But your cluster was created by Rancher, and so you're wondering if you can add the Helm chart, redeploy Rancher to your existing Kubernetes cluster, and then import that cluster. That one's a tough one. That one's a tough one. I would say back everything up before you try doing it. Only because I don't know if Rancher will know. Like Rancher might see... That one's a tough one. I don't know the answer to that, and so I don't want to send you down the wrong path. I would say back everything up and try it. That one does seem like, at first I was like, yeah, that might work. Hey, Digi Eagle, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. But the more I think about it, like, then you'll have Rancher installed and running kind of twice, which I don't know how well that will work. But I would say try it. It's worth a shot. Otherwise, other things you can try if you do want to continue down that path or migrate, is you could do a whole bunch of kube control commands with your YAML, and so you can get the YAML for those services or those deployments in your existing Rancher, and then do a kube control and deploy that service to a new cluster. like no problem as long as your mappings and everything are very similar or the same. But that's interesting to think about. I would definitely say back it up, give it a shot, let me know, because I would love to know that, because that sounds like a migration path too, for sure. Navicop, been a tough year for all of us, for sure. Yeah. Asters, it's not an M1 chip. I stay with Intel for now. I like to be able to spin up virtual machines. Yeah, good call. Also, MATLAB and some other programs don't run on ARM yet, but I've heard amazing things about the new M1 Max. Yeah, me too. I heard lots of performance gains and longer battery life. That seems to be the theme for Apple in general. More performant, better, and more efficient. Let's see here. Jimmo, here we go. Since I found your channel 2 weeks ago, I bought a T7600 and tried to set up everything. Interesting. But something always goes wrong with Rancher for 2 days now. But I thought it's better to finally watch some streams of yours. Hey, well, I appreciate it. Sorry things aren't going right. That's unfortunate. I know that things can go sideways really quick with the Docker install for sure, because it's way less forgiving, because that first command you run, everything has to be exactly right. And if it doesn't, it's going to spin up a whole bunch of containers that aren't configured properly or that aren't running properly. And now you're just like you're in a weird state. But let me know specific problems. I'd like to help if I can. Hey, Dark Honor, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. How you doing this Saturday? Montani Giri. Oh man, that's a tough one. Montani Giri. I'm going with that. Hi, hope you're doing well. What do you suggest for a newbie? Are there any resources that you use to troubleshoot? Anyway, thanks for the vids. You make me find lots of awesome tools. What do I suggest to a newbie? Are there any resources you use to troubleshoot? Oh, that's a tough one. Because a newbie to what? A newbie to virtualization, a newbie to Docker, a newbie to Kubernetes, because we're all new at something. And so I would I probably say this a lot, but to start with things you understand and branch out from there. I know that, some people might just dive right in and just say, yep, going all in with Rancher. And maybe not fully understand everything behind it. That's totally fine. Some people learn that way. Me personally, I don't, because I feel like I'm like lost in the woods and I'm like, I don't recognize anything right now, I was just talking about it earlier, I just learned, traffic, 4 or 5 months ago. And so I try to stay on the beaten path with some things, because I'm like, at least there are landmarks I understand and recognize, And so, if you're one of the people that learns by osmosis and just dive right in, yeah, absolutely. Go all in. And if that's something you want to learn, yeah, learn about Kubernetes that way. Me personally, I started way back, on physical machines, and I learned how to get some of these things running, services running, how to do networking. Then I went to virtual machines, and I was like, sweet, just like physical machines, except for it's not physical. It's running on some host somewhere or on my machine right here. And so I applied all those learnings to now virtual machines, and then, picked up Linux. I was like, cool. I know how to SSH into this thing. At first it was, I'm sitting right in front of the Linux machine. And then it was like, okay, this thing's virtual. Now it's headless. Now I'm going to SSH in. And, this is how I now work on this Linux machine. And so, it depends on how you learn. And for me, I like to build on top of things I already understand. Sometimes if I make that leap too far into things I really don't understand, I don't absorb anything at all, except for names, to where one day I'll come back and I'll say, oh, this is what I was doing. Now it makes sense. So troubleshooting resources, yeah, that's Google. That's Google all day. I mean, it's Google, Stack Overflow, whatever, for me as a developer, Google's going to suggest Stack Overflow post about my problems because it obviously has the best SEO. But yeah, there's also a great resource called our Discord server. So if you learn or want to have conversations with people about some of the problems you're having or ideas you want to plan, and it's not always just break fix, if you're thinking about designing, building, or building something out, yeah, join our Discord. We've got a lot of smart people in there who are very passionate about this type of stuff. who can maybe point you in the right direction before you start wandering off. Hopefully that helps. Vanam, VJ, hey, how's it going? Hey Tim, initial thoughts on service meshes alongside Kubernetes. Any videos will be doing the same. It would be great. Maybe, possibly. Tell me more. What do you mean? Give me an example about service meshes. Sorry, that one's hard for me to say for some reason. Because a couple of people were asking some questions earlier. I want to see if I'm on the right page as you. Easy, 8789. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Instant 20 instant. Check out Ghost. Easy and looks cool. Yeah, Ghost still seems pretty cool to me. I've been using WordPress forever, and it's just like my platform, my blogging platform. Ghost seems really cool. It had a lot of steam a long time ago, and I don't know, maybe it hasn't been on my radar lately, but I would like to look more into it for sure. I know that WordPress is a huge following for sure. But Ghost looks awesome too. Slicer 2K. Hey, just want to let you know I like your videos. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it. Thank you. Super double A. Any idea where to start with Docker? It seems easy, but I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. Super double A. Yeah, good question. This is one of those things where it's like you're just gonna have to try it, and I know that kind of stinks. I will say though that Docker's documentation is actually surprisingly good. It used to not be, and a lot of people complained about how bad their documentation was. But the Docker getting started documentation is pretty easy. It'll help you set up your machine, help you get Docker installed, help you spin up your first container, and kind of explain what ports, environment variables, data volumes or bind mount volumes are, and kind of how it works. My suggestion is though too, instead of just going after like a hello world, think of a Docker container you want to run. Think of something you're already running at home and make that work, because it'll make it more meaningful to you if you get it to work. And there will be probably a little more drive and passion to get it work. So if you're using something like, I don't know, Home Assistant, or name your favorite service, there's probably a Docker container out there. And so my suggestion is to pair that. So to pair the learning with the thing you want. So you kind of have this carrot and you're like, okay, after you succeed, you're like, hey, that was really awesome. And I learned about this thing along the way. That's how I learn. And that's always my carrot on the stick is the service I want to get going, or the thing I want to get running. The stick part is, got to do a video on it and release it on a Saturday, but that's a different story. Let me know if that helps. Lost Cause. Hugo is amazing if you just need a generic site. Great for self-promo, blog, and marketing site. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm a fan of Hugo too, because a lot of times when I build apps or I build a profile page for myself or need to redo it, I don't need a SQL backend. I don't need a data store. I don't need any of that. And so Hugo's really nice if you have small content, like think of a single page app, and I don't mean a spa in the architecture world of a single page app of how you design front end, but I mean a real app that's maybe one page, like a marketing site for a brand, or a marketing site for yourself, or a marketing site for an application. You launch an app in the App Store and you just need that one landing page where anyone can go to click on, get it on iOS and get it on Android. And that's, I think, what Hugo really shines at. A lot of other things too. And they can do blogs. It's no problem. It can do all that stuff too. It has a way to organize your files and your blog entries and stuff like that. But it really shines for high quality single page websites. So I totally agree. Lost Cause, DigitalOcean web app support. Free tier Hugo. Nice. Yeah, good call. So yeah, DigitalOcean. Spin up a web app there, free tier. Has Hugo in there. Good call. Unidentified user, yo, looking clean shaven that is. Yeah, it's a little scruff, but it's coming back. We'll see if it stays. High five. Hey Tim, do you know if it's possible to install Rancher server on a Raspberry Pi 4? Currently I'm running it on my local machine to access the dashboard. On the website it says it is, but I get an error when deploying the image. I requested the AMD 64 but need the ARM image. It should be. So when I do this, when I get to that point, I'm probably gonna, the way I'm gonna do it, like I said, when I get to that point, is I'm probably gonna install K3s on my Raspberry Pi, on a Pi 4. And then from there, I'll just deploy Rancher, which in my current install, what I just did, my HA Rancher, it'll just be there. Because now Rancher is high availability. It's just like any of your other pods. It can be scheduled anywhere and it can run anywhere. And so that's how I'll get it going. Can you tell me more, High Five, about, I guess, your install? Are you trying to do the Docker install on a Pi 4? Let me know, because that might be, I mean, it should work, I would assume, but that might be where the confusion is. Let's see here. Sorry, getting through these. Melon Dice, building a new Proxmox node over the holidays. 64 gigs of RAM, Ryzen 5, 3600, 1 new case, 1 terabyte storage of NVMe. Nice. Yeah, it seems like you got a great system going on there. Instant, any plans to do a video on cool stuff to do with free tiers of cloud compute like Google, GCP, AWS, or Azure? Possibly. Possibly. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, because, you know, I've done cloud stuff. I still do cloud stuff. I kind of like the self-hosted stuff for home, but yeah, it's not off the table, totally. But yeah, good idea. Thank you for that. Zoid, currently adding an ARM node via Rancher isn't supported. Even if you call the ARM64 version of the agent, there are lots of other things it has to pull down that won't be ARM64. My suggestion is to start with a K3s cluster with the ARM nodes and then import that into Rancher. Thank you, Zoid, for that. That's right where I was going. That's the path I'm gonna go down when I get there. Mitchie, I love the Rancher Kubernetes at work, but at home, it's a bit too much. I totally agree. It can be a lot. It can be a lot for sure. I agree. If that's not what you want to take on and support at home, absolutely, I totally agree. If you're doing it at work, man, that's awesome. But yeah, I agree. Might be much to take on at home. Me, I enjoy it because I do Kubernetes at work. I mean, that's not my main job, but we use it at work, and so I want that same, you know, robust kind of infrastructure for my own stuff here. Damien Coop. I was thinking about an MC server, Minecraft server. I need more gigahertz. All right. I have a low price. I don't know if the 1 HP DL380E Gen 8, I have more gigahertz and I like more gigahertz and RAM slots. Yeah, I don't know if you're out of, I don't know much about that server, but yeah, how many people are on your server? Because it seems like a DL380E Gen 8 would be plenty for a Minecraft server, but it depends on what you got going on there. Zoe25, you got it. I'll try your advice. I'll back it up, try it, and let you know. Thanks, Tim. Hey, no problem. Yeah, let me know. Please report back. I would love to know if there's an easy way, like you mentioned. Leo Ice Cold, did you already try to run Docker in a Docker and K3s-based containerd without Docker? Oh, man. Let me get a drink real quick. Did I already try? So I know what you're talking about. Basically, did I try Kubernetes, you know, with containerd versus Docker and Docker, and the Docker shim? I mean, with K3s, so the way I've been doing it now, with K3s, I already get that for free because it shits with containerd. Hey, dude, PC Geek, dude, gifted 3 tier months on 2. Thank you, man. You didn't have to. How's it going, man? Just wondering how you're doing. Haven't seen you in I don't know, 12 hours? How you doing, man? Dude, thank you so much. Dude, 3 gifted sub. You really didn't have to, man. I really appreciate it. Gunny92, Redo Strike, and Melon Dice. Enjoy your gifted sub from the PC Geek. Man, dude, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, man. Hope you're doing okay. But going back, Leo is cold. So I'm, you know, in my current journey with Kubernetes, you know, I'm giving K3s a spin. That comes with that comes with containerd already. And so that's the default engine for not for Docker, for containers. And so I didn't have to do anything other than use K3s. So I don't know the answer to that. So to answer your question, I did, but I got it for free from K3s. Hopefully that answers your question, Leo's Code. Digiteagle. Digiteagle. Since I'm hosting your channel for more than a half year, I figured I should follow you as well. Thanks for the hosting. I appreciate it, Digital Eagle. Great content, mate. Hey, I appreciate it. Hosting before following, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Instant 234, good resources, Homeland, Wiki, and Reddit. Yeah, I totally agree. For sure too. And I think, yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. Defurbe. Hey Tim, glad you're able to catch you today. Got any tips for HA casting of a live stream? We aren't quite starting from the ground up, capturing the satellite feed with a special encoder, but looking to broadcast to the web. HA casting of a live stream. So I assume you're going to be spinning up your own RTMP. I think that's the protocol or service to live stream to somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. Defurbe, tell me more. Tell me what you're trying to do. Cause, I mean, you could spin up your own server, to broadcast, but there, you know, or you can use stuff like Restream and stuff like that, depending on what the stream is, if you own the content, what all your agreements are in place. But tell me more. Tell me more. Or if you mean HA within your own home, high availability stream, just in case this PC goes down. I assume it's going to be some kind of RTMP. I think that's the protocol for streaming. RTSMP. I don't know. I'm terrible at video codecs and media encoding. But let me know. Let me know for sure. Because I need to know more. Like what part of this are you planning or are you preparing for in case something fails? Gunny92, I found your channel about a year ago from looking at your VM and Linux videos, playing around with some myself to gain some experience. I ended up changing jobs and doing something more in line with it. All right, congratulations on the career move and the career switch and the new job, Gunny92. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in and telling me. Congratulations on the job for sure. DigitEagle, I suggest learning IT-based. Yeah, project-based IT gives you a broad variety of topics to look at when something uninteresting you can take to the next, and then in the end you might have some finished product. Yeah, I totally agree. Super double A. Isn't it a great feeling learning something on the side than actually getting to use it? Yeah, I totally agree too. I totally agree. Well, congratulations for sure. Gunny says, absolutely. I was stuck in a fairly dead-end job as a dev and then moved on. Still a dev, but doing some more interesting stuff now. Yeah, congratulations. That's really awesome. Dead end as a dev? Oh man, that's not good. That's not good. DigitEagle, I love that you share your process with your videos because collaborative learning will be the future. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows if I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what I'm interested in. I'm just glad other people are too, for sure. Fermium Sci-Fil, Saturday. Yeah, it is. It is for sure. Melanice, have you tinkered with using Proxmox to give your Rancher VM HA capabilities versus putting Rancher on HA Kubernetes clusters? Lots of ways to accomplish the same goal, eh? Yeah. So, Melanice, totally agree. I thought about this ahead of time. And so the reason why I ended up building my two 1U servers was to not get HA Proxmox, but to get HA Kubernetes. Because at the end of the day, I don't care where my virtual machines are. So my agents, my Kubernetes agents, as long as they are. So what I mean by that, as long as there's a minimum availability of virtual machines or Kubernetes agents to run my pods, that's all I care about. And so that's why I didn't go down the HA Proxmox route, is because, one, you need 3 servers. I didn't want to get 3 servers or have to deal with that. My workloads that I need to be HA all run in Kubernetes. And so, with multiple servers and now multiple agents and with the possibility of Raspberry Pis sitting on my network too, that gives my Kubernetes service a lot of agents or workers to run my pods. And so, I looked at it like, I'm not going to build redundancy into my hypervisor. I'm going to build redundancy into the services and into Kubernetes and let Kubernetes do its thing, pretty much. And so, yeah, I definitely thought about it. It just takes a lot of infrastructure to make Proxmox HA. And, and on top of that, it takes, a lot of infrastructure, and it also takes, a lot of high performing infrastructure too. And so my route was, well, I'll make Kubernetes HA, I'll make storage follow that, which you'll be seeing here soon, so that my services can spin up anywhere on any of these virtual machines and run. And that I felt, for me, that was a better solution, because then all the virtual machines that are running K3s agents are throwaway. And so that almost makes one whole entire server throwaway, or maybe two, if I'm running Raspberry Pis that are added to this Kubernetes cluster just somewhere on my network. And so, those are all the things I've been thinking about. And so for me, I wanted HA Kubernetes. I didn't want HA Proxmox because I don't need HA virtual machines. I just need HA Kubernetes. So anyways, that's a really long, spiel about it. And I get it. Like, a lot of people may need high availability virtual machines. You might have domain controllers, Windows, Active Directory domain controllers. You're not containerizing that stuff. And so you might need a high availability virtual machine, or same with Exchange, or name your service that's not a container. Fortunately for me, my critical services live in Kubernetes, or I have multiple virtual machines spread across multiple hypervisors. Does that make sense? But no, these are all awesome things to think about too. And I wish I had the infrastructure to support HA Proxmox, because it sounds super fun. But I'd have to get one more server. I'd probably want to get 10 gig networking. It just, at the end of the day, I was like, oh, I can't do that right now. Maybe someday for sure. But yeah, lots of ways to accomplish the same goal. And I'm glad you worded it that way, because you're exactly right. There's so many ways to increase the availability of the services that you run, for sure. Vermium Sci-Fel, try Paper-C for Minecraft using RAM more than CPU. I like it. Oh, Paper-MC, gotcha. See here, I'm Lymanson. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for your Pi-hole high availability video. I was trying to get it up and running in a short time between VM. I was able to get it up and running in a short time between a VM I have and a Raspberry Pi 4. Raspberry Pi 4. Sorry, I thought that was important. It's not. And you got it running. That's awesome. And that's kind of what I was going for too. And so I, in my current configuration, I was like, well, this second, Pi-hole server is just kind of throwaway. That's why I do the whole pull config. But yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going for. Keep your primary Pi-hole server, spin up a Raspberry Pi or something else totally low end somewhere else in your environment, and just pull down the config from your main one. And then if something goes down, it has another server to pull from, for sure. But yeah, for sure. Glad you mentioned it. Birmingham Sci-Fel, Googled. Where RTMP uses TCP to transmit data, RTSP utilizes two network communications protocol, TCP and UDP. Because RTSP is not designed to stream directly to your browser, embedding an RTSP stream in one of your websites is more complicated than RTMP. Oh, this is going on. This is like Wikipedia. I was kind of on the right track though, with at least the acronyms, for sure. But yeah, I'm curious what they were talking about when they were trying to get HA for streaming, for sure. Birmingham Seinfeld, I followed your Rancher guide, and I totally hate Rancher. My WebSocket is not working, and Rancher dies every 5 minutes. Sounds like you got something going on there, because mine's been rock solid for, well, I have 3 installs. They've all been pretty rock solid. Let me know. The WebSocket thing is weird. I mean, WebSocket should just work if your load balance is set up properly, for sure. Let me know. Techno Tim, you talked about this already. Sorry. What do you think about new Harvester from Rancher Labs? Don't know enough about it yet. I don't know enough about it yet. Got to look into it. Yeah, so I know very little. Most of the things that I'm doing with Rancher now are things that I'm interested in or have used. I mean, obviously, there are some things on the periphery, like Longhorn, that I'm kind of tapped into because it's interesting. I don't know enough about Harvester though. Harvester sounds pretty new for sure. Your disk shell are using QSFP or RJ45? Interesting. Golinda, hi Techno Tim. Your disk shell, are you using QSFP or RJ45 interface? My disk shell. Oh, shelf. Sorry, I was like shell. I was thinking like terminal, ZSH. I'm like wrong shell. My disk shelf. It is QSFP. It is, and so I have. I don't know. I have the hardware link somewhere, but it is QSFP to 8081 or something. And so that goes from my HBA controller down to that disk array. And it goes down to that disk array and plugs directly in. And then that HBA controller passes all those disks through to the virtual machine. Sorry, gotta sneeze. I know I'm going to any second. Passes them all through, and then TrueNAS sees all of those. But yeah, let me know if, are you thinking about building one? Yeah, for sure. PC Geek, Harvester just came out. It's Kubernetes to manage VMs for HA cluster. Oh, I like it. I like where this is going. Virtual machines now in Kubernetes. Oh man. Well, this is Kubernetes to manage VMs for an HA cluster. I like where this is. It's turning upside down and turning into its inception. Interesting for sure. Interesting. I'll have to check it out. DigiDeagle, did you take a look at MikroTik's products already? I did. Sorry, the usual. Mint is plastered to my mouth, so I keep one in so my throat doesn't dry out, but then I just like don't close my mouth, and so it just gets plastered to my lip. But anyways, sorry, I lost track of it. I'll be there. I skipped a couple, but I'm gonna go back. I think you just asked me if there we go. Looked at MikroTik's products already. I have. I looked at them early on, but I already had some Ubiquiti network stuff here. Had a couple access points, and I was already managing them that way. So I went that route. MikroTik, nothing wrong with them. But yeah, just went with Ubiquiti because I already had access points. It's like, what do I want to rebuy or don't rebuy, And so I went down that route. And plus they're, it's pretty popular and they're pretty solid. I mean, yeah, there's some bugs and some quirks, but you'll find that with most products. The thing about it that I find reassuring, it's mostly software. And I think that's one of the reasons why people buy it, like it or love it. It's mostly software. And so they are committed to fixing bugs and releasing new features. And they've been doing that. So I can't argue with that. I write plenty of buggy software myself, and I have a commitment to fix those as well as release new features, even for smaller things I work on, and they're no different. I guess the difference is you pay a lot of money for the Ubiquiti stuff, but arguably it's a lot cheaper than other stuff out there. MikroTik obviously is even cheaper than that. So nope, I went with it. Like, I like their brand. I like where they're going. And so I just stuck with it. But absolutely, yeah, I did look at it for sure. Burmy and Seifeld, can you help me look into Rancher with me? Yeah, post your stuff in Discord. Got a whole community full for sure. Yeah, thank you, iLude. No route. Whoa, Fujifilm and IBM set world record 50 terabyte magnetic tapes. That's one awesome way to back up your data hoarding collection. Yeah, I think that magnetic tapes are the way to go, at least for your backups. I don't know. Snazzy Labs, Quinn had a magnetic tape backup video a while ago after he built his disk shelf. And I'm like, do I need a magnetic tape backup? And I'm like thinking like, no, I don't. Why am I even thinking that? Now I feel like I do because I need yet another way to back up my backups. But yeah, for sure. Golinda, I have a TrueNAS running in a Proxmox VM and pass through the HBA IT controller. I'm considering upgrade options. Yeah. And that's exactly how I have mine. So I have TrueNAS in Proxmox. It's a virtual machine. I pass through the HBA controller, and then from there I have, whatever the cable is. You can find it in probably my kits below or somewhere, or I can post it somewhere where you can find it. Same thing. And so I have a cable that's SFP to, I think it's 8081. I don't fully understand the number, but I do know that it plugs directly into my disk shelf and it works fantastic. So for me, if I felt it's me, the disturbing guy. Oh, you're not disturbing. No, not at all. Tim's getting plastered. I'm not getting. Well, you mean with comments or with drinks? No. This is water, bubbly water. That's about as exotic as I go. Instant 24. For your Windows VMs and bare metal computers, do you have any config management you do through GPO, SCCM, or other tools like PDQ? Do you run Pixi USB boot sticks for bare metal? No. So no. A lot of no's there. So for bare metal machines and for my few Windows VMs, I don't do any config management because those machines have very specific tasks. And so they rarely get changed. They run a couple of them. I know all of them. Well, a couple of them. Some of those Windows virtual machines run 24/7, and they have very specific tasks. And I deploy code to them too, automatically. And so there are times when I need to update whatever, name your dependency on Windows. I just do it manually because it's like, I'm not going to spin up a whole entire infrastructure, a domain and SCCM and all of that stuff just to manage 2 or 3 Windows machines that I have on. Not to say that that's not fun and a good idea and a good way to learn and a good way to maybe learn more about those types of technologies if you want to do that. But I don't have that many Windows machines where I need to do that. I got a Windows machine, obviously. This is all Windows, bare metal. And then I have, a few Windows VMs, Intel NUC that's running Windows. And other than that, it's Mac or Linux. And so, I have a, heterogeneous, I guess, topology here. And so I don't have enough, there aren't great tools out there to manage everything. I think Microsoft's trying to do something with PowerShell everywhere. And so for me, it's easy to automate some of those things. Like I do use Ansible for a few things that I need to automate with my Linux machines. That's good enough. My Windows machines rarely change. Windows updates and a few app updates is about as extravagant as it goes with those machines. And I could use something like Pixi Boot. I think Craft Computing just released something on Windows deployment services. And so I think, that might be a good solution for spinning up either bare metal machines or virtual machines on your network and be able to Pixi Boot to a network and deploy Windows to some of those machines. I just, at least in my infrastructure here and in my day-to-day, I don't have a need for that. But awesome to learn about for sure. Yeah, good question. So at the end of the day, do I run Pixi USBs for bare metal? No, I'm old school. Like I just rebuilt this Windows machine. I think it was last Friday night. I think because I was talking about it before stream. And what did I do? I went super old school. I think it's still here. It's around here somewhere. USB stick, Windows 10, boot from it, install. And so like I said, I would love to be able to automate those things. But the infrastructure required for me to do that for 2 machines, it's just, I don't get a ton of benefit there. Now, if that was something I wanted to do or wanted to learn about at work or didn't have those opportunities at work or I was looking to get into that type of role, absolutely, I'd be doing it. But that's not the field that I'm in right now or the field that I'm trying to go into. So yeah, great question. I think I just answered that there about Pixi versus USB. But I love Pixi Boot. Pixi Boot, I will say, I'll go off on a small tangent. Pixi Boot was another one of those things, because I used Pixi Boot a lot back in the day. So like when I started out in tech support, I did a lot of PC imaging. So I probably built, 1,000 PCs. Imaged, I guess I should say, because they were pre-built from IBM or Lenovo or Dell or wherever we're Compaq, HP, all that stuff. And so, I used to image servers and desktops all the time. And so I loved Pixi Boot so much. One, because it wasn't semantic ghost. we had to do this weird stuff with Ghost at this place I worked at, but then we used this thing called IBM Director. Long story short, it had Pixi Boot, and I love Pixi Boot so much because it was just like such a, at the time, I just thought this is such a fantastic, technology. I can boot to the network, I get this Pixi Boot request, it deploys an image to me, I can boot off that image, and I can image my machines. And so we had centralized management of that. I mean, going way back, 2003 at a place I worked at, 2004, where we were doing Pixi Boot and imaging Windows machines all centrally, and it was awesome. Anyways, I have a soft spot in my heart for Pixi Boot because I think it's a fantastic tech, and I always thought like one day I'll Pixi Boot at home, and that's how I know I've made it. And I have Pixi Booted at home before, back in the day, and in some of my old infrastructure, but I really have a need for that now. But anyways, I'm rambling now, but I love Pixi Boot. Also check out Craft's video because he has a video on Windows deployment services. It's pretty awesome. D Furby, working on a nonprofit to broadcast your content to an app. We're looking, working with a nonprofit to broadcast our content to an app. We're looking to capture some publicly available satellite feeds to fill it 24/7. We receive an encoder and the requisite equipment to capture satellite feeds and convert it to digital, but I'm looking to set up something to capture the video feed from the encoder and the broadcast to the hosting service, their RTMP service. Ooh-wee, that's very, very specific, very specific. So you're looking for something to capture the video feed from the encoder and broadcasting to the hosting service, their RTMP service. Sounds like you need another RTMP server in between there. I don't know. I haven't done a lot with broadcasting. This is as extravagant as it gets for me, as using OBS, Open Broadcast Software, and broadcasting to Twitch. I mean, and they have their RTMP servers that I plug in. I don't even have to plug them in because I OAuth to them and it fills it in for me with my token. So I don't have a ton of experience in broadcasting other than this. And like I said, open source software helps me do it. So I would probably do a lot of Googling. I feel like I have to Google to even start to answer that question. I wish I could help you more. I don't know the answer. Maybe there's someone in the channel right now that knows more about broadcasting than I do. But like I said, I'm using, OBS, and that does all the easy stuff for me. And then I point to Twitch's, one of their ingest servers, which I assume is an RTMP server that ingests the content from me and then transcodes and encodes it and all the like. But yeah, I wish I could help. I really do. I wish I knew the answer to that, or I wish I was more informed when it comes to broadcasting, but I'm not. No wrong. 580, not 50. 580 terabytes. I'm sorry if I said 58. 580, that is insane. You're half a petabyte, right? That's pretty crazy. I'm Lymanson. I use Pixi Boot with iSCSI and USB to install in bare metal. All my non-storage servers are diskless. All right, I'm Lymanson. Thank you. Yeah, I should probably be doing the same thing too. It's rare, most of my stuff is not bare metal anyways. I mean, I shouldn't say most, but a large majority. The things I rebuild often or create often are usually virtual, but arguably I could do that to a virtual machine too, right? There's no stopping that from happening. Use the same process you do for a virtual machine as you do for bare metal, which sounds pretty awesome to me because you get a clean install every time. And then provide unattended files or answer files for all the things you need to do. In Windows, I think it's unattended.txt. I can't remember. It's been so long. Or a WIM file. I think on WIM. I think it's WIM to deploy the image, the Windows image. Anyways, doesn't have to be, I guess, just bare metal then. That's a good point. Chris has what? How's it going, Chris? Booting Windows from a USB is old school. Man, I feel old. CDs and a pile of 3.5 floppies. LOL. Hey, you're not alone. Been there for sure. Did CD boot for a long time. Floppies? I probably did. But no, I just mean like, I don't have any advanced deployment systems here at home. I'm lucky if I can find the USB drive that is big enough to hold the Windows image for me. But yeah, I've done it too, man. I've done it too. I'm not as young as people think. Instant 234. I understand for what it's worth. If you don't if you don't want to go the full domain WS route, you don't have to. With apps like TinyPXE, Serva, or AIO Boot, you can network boot in about 5 minutes off an ISO. I'm gonna look into this now because like I said earlier, like I thought I know I made it when I had Pixi boot at home, and maybe it's time to get Pixi boot going again. But because it was fantastic, and plus, I've been looking into some cloud init stuff. Same thing Ilud was talking about earlier. But that might not help me for Windows. So yeah, might need to. Just Pixi boot. It's awesome. Hope that is showing with NetBoot. Yeah, I'll check out NetBoot. That sounds interesting for sure. Vermium Sci-Fil, Rancher. Do you use subdomain or SSH tunnel to connect? Subdomain or to what? To what? Are you talking about to one of my hosts or workers or my agents or my servers? What do you mean? What do you mean? Ilud, FFmpeg, just a guess. Yeah, I think FFmpeg does a great job at encoding, transcoding, whatever, for sure. Gunny, 92. All you guys talking about hundreds of terabytes of storage in your servers? I have like 10 terabytes, need to upgrade. Yeah, I want less terabytes, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, like having tons of data and can be good. But the way I look at it, that's more disks, that's more electricity, that's more things that can go wrong, and for every one disk, it's a minimum of 2 disks. I mean, if you're doing any kind of mirroring or anything, I mean, maybe you're doing different RAID configuration than I'm doing, but it's expensive keeping that much disks. I'm finding ways to get rid of data, and I don't mean like just deleting. Pretty soon, I might send something up soon to just compress the heck out of all my raw footage, because I'll never use it again. I want to have it just in case, so my video footage. But it doesn't need to take up 120 gigs, of something I may never look at. And I probably sound like a broken record, but I can crank out 100 gigs in a week, no problem, on one video, because I record for so long. You got multiple cameras, screens, audio. At the end of the day, you see 15 minutes of it, but it's maybe an hour and a half of raw footage that then I edit, that then sits, in my storage for a long time, forever, until I delete it. And so anyways, long story short, I want less. I wish I could go down to 10 terabytes. That will mean that I've been able to compress all of my raw footage down to something manageable. But Salvers, that looks like a new one. Hundreds of 5.2 floppies to do a system backup was fun back in the day. Yeah. Defurbe. The equipment we got was to capture the feed into a studio, so I would be capturing the video signal with a capture card. I was thinking of getting a workstation grade Xeon ECC Quadro, with NVENC, to capture the feed and then use it to OBS to send it back out. Just looking on tips to making it HA. That one again is tough. So I like where you're going with that. So you're saying like, hey, you might use OBS with a Xeon and Quadro with NVENC. I think you would be good alone with a Quadro with NVENC. You'd be surprised at how efficient and how well Quadro does. I should just say NVENC, right? Because the NVENC chips are on consumer cards, and the NVENC chips are on Quadros as well. This stream is brought to you by NVENC right now. I love NVENC, and I know that people are like, people razz me sometimes about why I still choose NVIDIA, and to me, I look at the whole picture. Like, I depend on NVENC encoder for a lot of things in my infrastructure, more than what you see. And so anyways, long story short, I think you're going down the right path. I don't want to, I'm not trying to say like, hey, maybe you shouldn't spend so much on the Xeon part, but you'd be surprised on how much NVENC will get you. It's totally going to take all the load off your CPU if you're going to be using NVENC to re-encode the stream with OBS. And so tips for making that HA, to be honest, I have no idea. I have no idea on how. It seems like you would need your own RTMP server somewhere, or multiple. or one somewhere that will not go down that then sends that to multiple places. But I'm not the greatest at routing. Like I said, not the greatest at routing, video streams. I'm kind of okay at routing TCP traffic. But it's just, for me, it's usually a bunch of load balancers, or things running within Kubernetes, that handles a lot of that for me. When it comes to something like that, I would definitely dig and look at some documentation or just Google to see how other people are doing this. I'm sure there's an RTMP server out there you could put in the middle that then could put that, split that or send that stream to two places. But I don't know how you would marry those back up, and then have some kind of active, passive standby or something like that. Don't know enough about it. Major Musso. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. The Rodrigo, it looks like that one snuck in there too. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Salvarius, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Sorry if I didn't read those out. But yeah. I'm Lymanson. Oh, wait, I missed one. Redo Strike. Haha, I remember installing Office from floppies. Yeah, I don't think I ever did Office from floppies. I did Office from CD-ROMs for sure. Big time, for sure. Doing it, and working tech support. I had to go to some remote site. Their site going back to, their line going back to our main place was so slow. I'm like, nope, bringing my disks on this one. I'm Lymanson. Yes, you are correct. You can have your VMs boot to Pixi and iSCSI, so your hypervisor doesn't have to manage your storage. I like it. You want to look at a good DHCP server that can provide these customizations. I was using DNS Mask, and it's working for me. Yeah, good call for sure. DFurby, I'm not familiar with FFmpeg. We'll look into it. Yeah, so FFmpeg is, encoder, transcoder, I don't know, a codec. That can encode and transcode things if you want. So if you use Handbrake, I think Handbrake uses it. I think even Adobe Premiere uses it. But yeah. On the fly stuff though, I'm not sure. So yeah, FFmpeg, good suggestion for sure. Vermian Sci-Fi Web UI. Not sure. I think you're talking about Rancher. How do I access it? Web UI, I think. I mean, depends. Depends what I'm doing at the time. But on my local network, I use the Web UI, if that's what you're asking. Leonardo, trying to learn and adapt the culture of the company that I worked at to a more DevOps approach. Good luck. It's a tough fight. But struggling to understand because our software uses macro services in a VM environment, so monoliths basically. Any suggestion how to troubleshoot over commitment issues between cluster concurring resources, all kind of vendor tier 1 hypervisors? How to troubleshoot over commitment issues between clusters concurring resources. I'm not sure I understand your question. I'm trying to break it down. Any suggestions about how to troubleshoot overcommitment issues between cluster and concurring resources, all kind of vendor tier 1 hypervisors? That sounds like a scale problem that I haven't had to deal with in the workplace, fortunately, because I would be like, I'm not sure exactly what to do. I wish I had an answer for you. I'm going to be honest. I don't. I haven't had to. I'm completely honest. My scale here at home is pretty small. I even scale my Kubernetes services really small. The ones that I can run concurrently, are 1, 2, 3 pods. The ones that I don't aren't. Minimum of 1, scale of 1. So I haven't had to deal with a lot of scale issues, especially to the effect of what you're talking about. And for hypervisors, be completely honest, I've managed a hypervisor outside of home maybe once or twice. Obviously, I used them and had access to them, but wasn't actively managing one. So I'd love to hear what other people have to say. Leonardo, I wish I could help you. I wish I had an answer, but maybe someone else will. Salvarius, yes, I'm new. Enjoying your videos. Figured I'd stop by and drop for a follow. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in and saying that. Vermium Sci-Fi, you access it via SSH or reverse proxy. You keep asking the same question, but I'm trying to understand what you mean by it. I mean, I can access it both ways, right? I can SSH into my Rancher server if I need to, And I can also access it from the traffic ingress controller that's serving out Rancher, or in one of the many Rancher installations I have. I can access it through the web. So if that's what you're asking, but I need more context. Nick Hag, do you think I should get a Dell Mac for? Do you think I should get a Dell or Mac for a computer science degree? That's a tough one. Nick, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I won't go there because it's going to depend on your preference. I will say, so in my experience, Mac has been fantastic for software development, right? Because I'm a software developer. I do obviously other things, and it works fantastic. I will say that Windows has WSL, and I've been using WSL for multiple years now, and it's breathed new life into my Windows machine to the point where I'm like, okay, if I had to, absolutely had to, could I use this day to day to develop software? I think the answer is yes. Is it going to be as nice or as efficient as a Linux machine or my Mac? Probably not. Could I get the job done? Absolutely. And so, I don't think that you should pick your platform based on the field that you're going into, unless you plan on doing something that, that will make that easier. I mean, computer science is such a huge field. You'll be doing all kinds of things, you name it. Name anything on computer science, you're probably going to be touching it, talking about it, or experimenting with it. I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe someone who's had to make that choice more recently can weigh in. But I do think that Mac's great, Linux is great, Windows with WSL makes it almost great. No, it makes it pretty great for Windows for sure. Because a couple of years ago, before we had WSL, it was really hard to do stuff. Period. To do anything that people were already doing on Linux and Mac, or I should just say Linux-like systems. And so WSL makes it a little bit easier. So it depends on your budget. Depends on what route you think you'll be going. I will say that I think you could do it anyway. And so you're going to end up in classes and people in your field or in your major are going to be on Windows, Linux, I should say them all at once. Linux, Mac. They're going to be on Windows, they're going to be on Mac, they're going to be on Linux. Just like when you get in the job field, it's going to be kind of the same. I mean, you're going to have people who, use Macs, you're going to have people who use Windows, you're going to have people who use Linux. So, really long answer for your question, but I would say just go with your gut. It'll be fine. And I wouldn't, go with your gut. And vote with your wallet maybe too. Depends on what your budget allows. But if you do get a Windows machine, get a decent one that's going to last too, for sure. Vermian Seifeld, this is my recent error from Rancher. Fatal leader election lost for cattle controllers. Sounds like your API servers are down and they can't elect a leader or something. Yeah, need more context than that. Post it in Discord for sure. We can follow up in there. Chris Haas, that's going on to completely depend on how your program is set up. If you're a Windows-based, then you may struggle with having a Mac unless you use a VM. Yeah, this is exactly what I was going on. That's exactly what I was going for. I do think that if you are going to choose Windows, you have WSL that's there, and then WSL will run Linux under the cover, so the Windows subsystem for Linux. And then you'll feel just like everyone else that's running Mac or running Linux. So I think it can be done. Just really depends. But if you do go that route and do choose Windows, absolutely go with WSL, because then you'll use a bash terminal and you use a bash shell or ZSH or whatever shell you choose, and you'll feel just like the person that's running a Mac. All your copy and paste commands that you get from your courses or from the web will end up working. So if you do go that route, go WSL for sure. Instant, do you use a dashboard like Heimdall or Organizer to access all your self-hosted apps? I finally decided to downsize my bookmarks folder. Yeah, Instant, absolutely. I use Heimdall. I did a video on it a while ago. Been using it ever since. Absolutely, 100% every day. It's not my homepage, but it's one click away from my homepage. only because sometimes I have auth on it, and so sometimes it's just annoying when I open up a new tab to see that and have it requesting authentication when that's not the first place I want to go. Anyways, long story short, yeah, absolute Heimdall. Check out my video. It's fantastic. I love it. Been using it for a long time. Huge fan. It's simple enough for me. Zoometro. You might have to look into the new H.266 codec for compressing your footage. I'm not sure if it's well supported yet, but it's very efficient. Up to 50% more than H.265. Nice. Yeah. A good call. Those are things I'll have to explore. But I'll look into it. H.266. Man, I was thinking H.264. Now I'm like two hundredths off. No, thousandths off. No, I know that's not a decimal. But I'll look into it. Thank you, for sure. Okay, Vermian Seifeld. Okay, can you access via domain outside of home? No. I'll go with no. Nope. Reader Strike. I'm kind of sure he's using Heimdall. I've seen the video. Yeah, for sure I am. So Vermian, no, I don't expose that publicly. Gunny, I've done a computer science degree a few years ago. It's hit or miss on what you're going for. All right, we had folks who had both Windows and Macs. The degree itself is pretty vague. Each uni can have completely different courses and content. Yeah, I'm going that way too, because like the professors for each class can't make their courses or their, based on an operating system. Because then it's like, what happens when that one person or the half the people have the other operating system? So I think they've been dealing with it for a long time and they know how to handle that. So yeah, I'd say you're going to be fine either way, because those professors have been dealing with Windows and Mac for decades before you got there. And so I think they have that mostly figured out. They should. Mill and Dice. If you're going into computer science, you can't be hung up on Windows versus Mac versus Linux. A better choice, but you better pick a side when it comes to Emacs versus VI. Yeah, you better. That's so true. So true. Because at the end of the day, no one cares about what the OS is. It's what your editor's going to be. Vermium Seifeld. Yes, it dies, but there are so many pods for errors. I'm not sure, man. Hit up Discord for sure. BlackVQ35HR. In your opinion, is a SQL database on Docker good, or should I stick with a VM? I'm asking because I want to consolidate all of my SQL needs for home use, but I want something that'll be good and safe. Yeah, so I'll, let me grab a drink real quick. Is it good? It's totally fine. I do it now, and I should have done it a long time ago. And the reason why is because, I'll say this, I had a couple of virtual machines that had very specific versions of MySQL running because whatever service I was running said, hey, it has to be 5.6 or it has to be 5.7 or it has to be Mongo 3. Whatever. And so for a long time, I was just like, okay, virtual machine. Okay, now I spin up a new virtual machine, put my database on there, new IP, the whole rigmarole with virtual machines. And then I got to a point finally where I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Now I have 3 machines to care about, care and feeding for 3 machines. That means updates. That means backups. Where are they storing their backups? Who knows? What do I map? What do I back up? I don't know. So I'm going to back up all 100 gigs of the thing, And so those are the things that I faced for a long time. And then eventually, not that I didn't want to do this before, I was finally had some time to do it. I migrated all of my databases to the same machine and use Docker for them and map their volumes locally and back that up. And it's super easy. Now I have one virtual machine. I can switch those ports at any point in time that I want because, with Docker networking, I could say, hey, MySQL port 3306 is now port whatever, 30,200, whatever you want it to be, right? And so it was super easy for me to do that afterwards. And looking back, I should have done it sooner. And so is it safe? It's safe as anything else is going to be. If you map your volumes you're out of the gate, I would absolutely make sure you map if you're going to bind your volumes and you manage your Docker volumes that way, do it. And it works fantastic. And everything's written to disk. And if you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 database engines all running on that, machine, it's totally fine. Imagine trying to do that with virtual machines. I mean, even 3. And that's where I was. I needed 3 different virtual machines for MySQL. Well, for MySQL and Mongo. And now I have one virtual machine that's, 2 versions of MySQL and 2 versions of MongoDB. And if I need Postgres, that's exactly where it's going to go. And so, and this is for home, and the same would go for work. I know people will say, well, performance issues, and yeah, I get it. Like if you're doing some transactional database where microseconds count, the microseconds you could probably shave off of not using Docker, sure. But at home, no, absolutely 100% I would go Docker, because I want to manage less. Like I get it. Like sometimes it's cool to look at all my virtual machines and just be like, yeah, look at all these virtual machines. But I'm doing Ansible stuff now, but at the end of the day, I don't want to DHCP leases, DNS, updates, backing up that virtual machine, rsync. Am I going to use rsync? How am I going to back up this thing? And so I run all of my databases now on one machine. I basically created almost like a SaaS for all my data services. They're all running on there. They're all Docker. And so for me, it's good and safe. And now I have one way to back up all of my databases. I mean, varies a little bit depending on Mongo and depending on, my Mongo backup job, my Mongo dump and my SQL dump. Obviously those are different. But they're dumping in the same place. And so now I just know, hey, this is the one folder I have to this is the one folder of backups that I back up. And then this is the one folder of configs that I back up. And then the nice part is the upgrade is the same thing. Even easier. How do you upgrade your Docker container? Well, if it's pinned to 5.6.34 and you want to go to 5.6.35, you just stop the service, redeploy in a 5.6.35, and you're magically upgraded. I mean, obviously for major versions, there's going to be schema changes and all that stuff you're going to have to do. Same, kind of things you'd have to consider for major versions. But for minor or patch versions, it's super easy. There's no installer. You just grab the latest Docker container again. So I get it. Like, is that, I'm not talking about, sharding or synchronizing or any of those other things you get in enterprise systems. Just talking about one database. And if I want to do those things, they're super easy to do in Docker too, where you can have some HA services around your databases. So anyways, you asked the lens of home use, and so I'm answering in home use. But I would do the same thing, depending. The DBAs would kill me. We don't have DBAs though where I work. Not because, just because I work at a small startup. But it just depends on what you're comfortable with managing. I'm super comfortable with backing up, managing, updating, and doing the whole Docker thing because that's what I like. But some people aren't as comfortable with it. And some people need every ounce of performance to squeeze out of that, to those services. And so for me, I trade off microseconds, not even milliseconds, microseconds for manageability. Anyways, sorry, I'm rambling. Hopefully that helps. I don't know why my thing jumps every now and then. But hey, Black VQ35HR, hopefully that answers your question. I got a video on it and doing it too. It's pretty easy. I do use something different though for backing up for my backup jobs than I mentioned in a video. If you want to know, hit me up in Discord or whatever. I can share it there too. Sly Human. I just my first Dell server. All right, R720. It's overwhelming. All the new knowledge I need. I get it, yeah. But start with something you like. Start with something fun. I mean, that's my very first Rancher video was about a Minecraft server because that was something I thought was fun. And again, it's, I always try to pair, what I want to do with something, I want to learn. And so for me, it was like, hey, I want to learn about how to get Minecraft. I want to learn about Docker. How do I learn about that? Well, I run a Minecraft server that's not in Docker. Well, that sounds kind of fun. Let's figure that out. So I always pair, what I want with what I want to learn. Hey, Black VQ35HR, resub, Prime, 2 months. Thanks for the continued support. Hope you get those databases figured out for sure. But yeah. But thank you for the sub. Really appreciate it. 2 months. Thank you so much. Melondice, SQL on Docker is the same as SQL on VM. It just matters how the resources you give to Docker. All right. I like where this is going. PC Geek. All right. Twitch Global. Oh, I don't have the creep Twitch emote, do I? Maybe? Is that new? The silver. Hey Tim, big change with your beard gone, eh? Yeah, how you doing today? Yeah, I shaved it off. I don't know. When did I shave it? I think it was last weekend. I can't remember. I think it was because I was wearing a white hoodie. And the only way I know that is because that went in the clip of the latest video. So I'm like, that's how I know. That's how I can count days now or figure out that just time in general is so weird right now. But I know, anyways, yeah, that's how I keep track of time or dates, I should say. Black VQ35HR, I figured they're very close. Wanted to see if info favoring both sides. Yeah. So mine was very heavy on the Docker side. So if you want to get, some information on the VM side, I'm sure there's absolutely folks who would be glad to answer that too. And it's not the only way. Just saying, some of the benefits I see. And the more I do Docker stuff, the more I'm like, I realize them. And not just like, I realize them, but I realize the benefit every time I do it because I'm like, okay, backups work the same. Okay, port mapping works the same. Okay, so it just becomes rinse and repeat for all of my services, for me personally. Getting it in Kubernetes is a little bit different, but not a little more challenging, especially if you want to create an HA instance or something like that, or to be able to synchronize your databases, but not undoable. Lots of people are doing it. Vermium Seifel, my problem is parents are separated. My server's at my mom's place, so I can't access it locally from my dad's place. Maybe VPN. Yeah, absolutely. I would go VPN. I mean, if you really wanted to, if you wanted to expose it publicly, not saying you do this, and not saying it's an awfully bad thing, but if you want to do that, I have a video on that, and not to say I have a video, but the important part of that video is to use some third-party authentication, like a third-party provider, or maybe it's a third party that you host internally. But use something, GitHub, GitLab, Google, for your auth token. And then on top of that, have two-factor auth. So it's not the end of the world if you have to, but I would recommend not to unless you have to. And then if you have to, make sure you're going to use SSL. Make sure, that you're going to have strong authentication on it. And the easy way to do that is use a third-party OAuth provider. And then on top of that, on top of using a third-party OAuth provider, use two-factor auth. So now it's like, okay, now you're protecting yourself before you even do it. But VPN works just fine. But I know that's going to be hard to set up at your parents' house and be able to VPN back and forth. But then again, that helps in many ways too, especially if you need to remote into other things, or your parents' PC, they need some help. Hey, VPN's there. You just remote in and help them out that way too. But yeah, VPN for sure. Silver, I think WireGuard VPN will work perfect for such use case. I agree too. You just got to get that infrastructure up, do support forwarding, and you're on your way. Chris has, check out Tailscale, an awesome implementation of WireGuard. All right, I like it now. They're becoming forks or spin-offs or upstream, downstream versions of this, because yeah, like WireGuard is super awesome. It's super fast, very new. But lacking on the usability part, and I get it. We could all set up, WireGuard. We can get it going. We can scan the QR code from the terminals and the logs, but usability though, from a consumer's standpoint, it's just not there yet. And I'm not saying it's not a great product. I'm just saying, what if my brother was like, hey, I want to VPN into home. I couldn't just say, yeah, install WireGuard. Just super easy, Nothing against my brother. He's very sharp. But at the same time, he doesn't know anything about, I shouldn't say this for him, but he would probably ask me how to spin up WireGuard if I told him to do that. Versus, hey, open VPNs on routers, and it gives you easy ways to do that, and they have clients to do that. I think WireGuard needs I want them to focus absolutely on the tech. Hopefully there are some spin-off things, like I haven't looked into Tailscale, but that touch on the usability aspect of WireGuard, because why? Not to make it easier for people to use, well, that too, but so more people will use it. So that's why I focus on the usability, because I've already spun it up. It's no problem for me, but hard to recommend it to people who aren't in tech. And that's what I want to be able to do. Be like, hey, Bob asked Tim, Bob says, hey, what VPN should I use? Hey, yeah, try WireGuard. Go to wireguard.com, download it today. You know, and that's what I want to be able to do, and it's not there yet. Nothing against the tech. It's very new, but I wanted to get to that point. That means they made it for sure. Talking about dumps now, yeah, my SQL dumps, yeah, SQL dumps and Mongo dumps. I don't know which is worse, but yeah. Chris asks, interesting hearing this database on a VM talk in light of the previous conversations around not having HA at the VM level. So your database isn't HA. My current database? No, I'm not gonna lie. Absolutely, no, it's not. Nope, it's not. Should it be? Probably. But yeah, so that's a weak link right now for some of my services that require external storage from a database. Yeah, not HA. Will be at some point, for sure. Will it be via virtual machine HA? Probably not. Probably not, because I feel like the doing it at the hypervisor level is kind of like the I don't know, name your big tool for the small job. And so it's like the sledgehammer, you know, and maybe sometimes you need the sledgehammer, maybe sometimes you don't. And so what I'll end up doing is probably having a load balancer in front of a MySQL cluster where that data is replicated, and then that load balancer will just hand out those requests to whoever's available. And so I again probably won't make my virtual machine HA. I'll make my MySQL cluster and my Mongo SQL sharding or my cluster there HA as well. And so yeah, it is. But again, this goes back to the question, you know, where, you know, what's the right place? What's the right level for that job? And it could be the virtual machine level. For me, you know, for a lot of people, absolutely. You got the infrastructure? For sure. For me, it probably won't be, though. I'll probably knock it down and do it at the application layer. Because, yeah, for me, like I said, one, I don't have the infrastructure for it. But then just having, you know, 3 virtual machines, basically 1 virtual machine per service, then replicated across every hypervisor that I have it's a lot of resources for me that I don't have, and a lot to manage too. But yeah, good call out. Question these things because I like it, because you're picking my brain, and then I start to think about, okay, well, I start to think in my head about implementation. So these questions, when you probe like that, make me think about implementation more than just like these ideas, and I love it. So thank you. Black VQ 35 hour. Oh, I want to say 35 an hour, but it's not. It's 35 HR. You told me before how to pronounce it. It's Black VQ 35 HR. For some reason, I want to say 35 miles an hour. Anyways, yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. PC, oh man, Minecraft Creeper. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't even know if I have it. Maybe I have it. I don't know. Vermium Sci-File, k3s versus Docker for Rancher. Yeah, I talked about that. I think I talked about it a little bit today. I know I talked about it in Discord for sure. And so I'll say it real quick because it's on the heels of what I just released today. So people have maybe installed, you know, Rancher via Docker, and then they've spun up Kubernetes that way and made their Kubernetes high availability by adding more API servers and more agents. And so they've been able to get HA Kubernetes using the Docker install because they get an agent that they can install and get more servers and more agents, workers. But the one thing that hasn't then been HA is Rancher itself, because Rancher itself is running on that one node, only Docker, and so that's not high availability because it lives on that one machine. And yes, you might have more servers. They call them, you know, masters and agent. I always call them servers and agents. But you might have more of those, but you only have one Rancher. And so the install that I was talking about today is basically saying, hey, take your existing HA k3s install and now install Rancher as a pod using Helm into that cluster so that Rancher can run on any of those nodes and not be the single point of failure. And so that's all today was talking about, was like, hey, you can install a Rancher on an existing Kubernetes cluster. Maybe you have it HA, maybe you don't. But if you do, you're still going to get the benefits of Kubernetes, which is that Rancher server can run on any pod, run anywhere. And you could take one of those nodes down and it's still going to run. Whereas with a Docker install, if you take that one node that's running the Docker install down, yes, your pods might continue to run because Docker's not going to shut down on all of those other machines. And yes, Kubernetes might still run, right? But when you configure those with a Rancher agent, they're pointed back at the Rancher server. It's hard coded back to there when you created that agent with the Docker install, pointing back at the server that now does not exist. So Vermium, that's all that is just saying, hey, you know what? If you want to make your Rancher install high availability, here's how. And so that's the gist of today's video. Here's how to make Rancher high availability. Yes, you might have high availability or redundancy with all of your Kubernetes, with your existing Kubernetes cluster. But here's how to make Rancher itself also high availability. So that's all it was. Hopefully that helps, Vermium. PC Geek could use an RPI with a VPN server. Plenty of guides on it. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, totally. Yeah, if you want a low power, Raspberry Pi, you can just tuck away in your parents' house and then do some port forwarding. Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea. For sure. I need to do that at my mom's house. Because you know how it goes. You get those calls and I got to go pick your remote service and figure it out every single time. But it would be nice to still, create a VPN tunnel to there. And I used to do that. I used to do that to both of my parents' house, but it became too much to maintain, at least for me. And then I could never guarantee that my mom wasn't going to find the thing and unplug it, and just be like, so I found this computer you left. I'm like, no, Mom, that's VPN. Don't unplug that. And then I did site to site and routers before, but they switch ISPs and then they get a router from their ISP. And so, you know how that goes. But yeah, I like the Raspberry Pi idea. Just tell your parents, just like tape it to the modem. Just say, do not unplug this thing, whatever you do. The Silver, about the OAuth 2 provider thing, is there anything you can use to self-host a OAuth 2 provider? And also, would there be any security issues? So yeah, you can host so you can self-host a couple of things and basically have an OAuth provider yourself. You could, for sure. I tend to lean into people who have done it before, and possibly for accounts that you're already using that are already secured. And so I look at services I do use. So what do I use? I use Gmail, right? Everyone uses Gmail. I'm active on GitHub. I use GitHub. Same with GitLab. I even go as far as Microsoft stuff too, right? I have a Microsoft account. I have an Xbox, right? And so if you think of any of those services, you probably have two-factor auth behind them too, right? So that's where I kind of lean into them and say, you guys are pretty good, I'd say exceptionally good at doing authentication and token issuing and maybe rejecting tokens or spotting or even blocking, attacks. And so I kind of, at least for some things, I'm just like, yep, Google off for this, or yep, GitHub off for this, because I know at the end of the day, the burden's kind of on them to do the OAuth piece. And then your service that's running just verifies that token. And then obviously you want to have two-factor auth. And I say that with a caveat is that I think that, personally, I feel a little more comfortable having them handle authentication. And this is the OAuth piece, right? I'm not saying handle all authentication, but authenticating me on GitHub.com ensures that, one, and they've used my password. Two, they have my two-factor auth. Three, If they are getting two-factor auth, they haven't, they're not using an old cookie or something like that. And so anyways, long story short, I personally, I feel a little more comfortable letting a big service like, Microsoft or Google or GitHub, which is also Microsoft, handle at least the OAuth flow for me than me hosting it myself. And not to say I couldn't, and I've done it before, done it plenty of times. But that stuff gets kind of scary sometimes, implementing OAuth is kind of easy. Auth0 makes it super easy if you use their stuff. Implementing on your own is kind of hard. And I know you could stand up a service for yourself too, but there's a lot of pieces involved. So anyways, long story short, any security issues with hosting something like that yourself? Sure, misconfiguration, you name it. But at the end of the day, you can get some help from your friends, auth providers that you're already using, So yeah, anyways, let me know if that kind of helps. Hey, it looks like there was a couple follows in there. TMPOR, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. 5-minute coding, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Tinkerfu, hey, how's it going? Tier 1, 4 months. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the continued support. And those lights are really appreciated too, because they're not stopping. I know what's going on. There's a weird callback anyways. That's not happening. Maybe I can fix it. But thank you so much for the continued support. Really, really, really appreciate it. Can I just go one? Oh, yes, I can reach it still. I have my Docker container that I could have done it, but it's so much easier to grab the remote. But thank you so much. But hopefully that helps, the silver. Auth is hard and auth is complicated. And it's easy to do wrong. I won't say it's hard to do right, but there are providers that make it easy for you. Hey, Wolf Larson, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. All right, lights are going again. Thank you so much for the sub. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Prime sub. Thank you so much. Anyways, I babbled on that forever. I'm just, I'm trying to be, see it both ways, because the purest self-hoster in me wants to just say, absolutely, self-host it yourself. Google, can't trust them. But Google protects a lot of accounts with their authentication. And I'm not going into their data privacy or anything like that. I'm just talking about good old auth. Auth-Z, auth-N, 401s, 403s, authentication and authorization. And they have pretty solid, systems in place to handle that and to detect when things go wrong. So say what you want about, data privacy and all that, but I'm just talking about auth, those companies, they have to, because they protect a lot of information. They don't want other people reading the information that they're reading, so they gotta, make sure auth works. Anyways, I'm being kind of snarky, but at the end of the day, I think they got auth, down. More so than me. That's for sure. Anyways, sorry. Does anyone have any good resources for getting started with Prometheus? Yeah, a great question. I don't, not off the top of my head. I will have something coming soon. I've used Prometheus before. I don't have anything off the top of my head. I mean, for things like that, to be honest, I go right out to YouTube and I Google Prometheus. I look at like the top 3-4 blogs. Those usually point back to a YouTube video, so I end up on the YouTube video anyways. I'd love to share something once I find it. I'll share something in Discord I think we have an analytics. Yeah, was it? Did we rename it? Yeah, it's analytics. Should be monitoring metrics. I think it was everything in one, but we'll make some adjustments soon. But yeah, anyways, I don't have to top of my head. I'll share something there in the Discord channel when I do find something. Denny, I love expose.git directories over HTTP. Oh man, yeah. One, .git directory shouldn't even be deployed. That should be in your git ignore. Yeah, because that should never reach a container or anything anywhere. But yeah, that's crazy. A .git folder and then over HTTP on top of that. D Panesso, hey, how's it going? Hey, good. Everything is fantastic here. Zumatro, hey man, I'm gonna have to tune out. It's almost 1 a.m. here. Keep up the good stuff. Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, me. Speaking of tuning out, I'm gonna have to wrap it up here too. So I'm gonna go through these comments real quick. Wolf Larson, there are Ansible playbooks that make setting up replication in MariaDB and MySQL very quick and easy. Thank you, appreciate that. Yeah, I've been digging into playbooks lately, unraveling what to me was the mystery of Ansible lately. It's super fun for the few things out of me. It's actually fun to sit back and watch it work. Totally agree. Chris asks, Tailscale has absolutely solved the usability issues with my WireGuard, in my opinion. All right, this is exactly what I was hoping for. It's a service with packages for Linux, Mac, Windows, multi-user. If you ever want to authenticate using Google or others, then you can piggyback on their two-factor auth. It's capable of exposing subnets, so for situations where you can't install it, like a camera, you can node to forward. You can use the node to forward. Release like, check it out. All right, yeah, that's it's everything I guess I was hoping for in WireGuard so far, because I've been talking about, I use it, but like I said, like the usability piece, it's like, can't tell, Bob to go download WireGuard. I can't recommend it yet to non-tech people, and I want to recommend it to non-tech people. So I'll have to definitely check out Tailscale for sure. Let's see here, Banana. Vermium Seifel, RK versus K3s. Hey, we covered that, man. But I can follow up in Discord too, post some links. Instant, you said earlier you need to get back to gaming. What kind of games are you into? I'll answer this one real quick. I'm into all kinds of games. I mean, I grew up, lots of Nintendo. I grew up playing all kinds of Nintendo. So a lot of platformers, a lot of, Nintendo games. I can still rattle off the code to Mother Brain for Metroid. And I can still rattle off the code to Mike Tyson for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. 007-373-5963. Yeah, that'll get you right to Mike Tyson. But anyways, so I love Nintendo games, but recently, so I'll talk about some of the games I played before. Like I like indie games, but I really like platformers. So I like MMOs. It's kind of a wide swath of stuff. So I'll talk about, I like MMOs. So I played WoW for a long time ago. Can't play it anymore. I wish I could, but I'd be on it all the time. Videos wouldn't happen. Life wouldn't happen if I played. And then, I really like platformers a lot. So I played a little bit of Hades. I love Ori and the Blind Forest. Like I like just really touching or compelling action-packed or jumping kind of platformer games. Really like them. And then, I like, RPGs, you name it. I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooters. I used to play a ton of, Battlefield 2, 3, 4. But, just kind of lost interest in it. I love watching them. I love watching other people play them because it's interesting to me. And I love seeing people who are really good play first-person shooters. But, I just stopped playing them years ago. And so I got more into RPGs and especially indie platformers. I like them a lot. So if I get some time, I mentioned Ori and the Blind Forest, one of my favorite games of all time. I bought it on 2 platforms. I've played 100% playthroughs 3 times. That's how much I love that game. And so I have Will of the Wisps now, and that's one game I hope I can play over the next couple of weeks with some time off, to be able to play a game and complete 100%. So anyways, I love games so much. I have my whole entire life, and need to play some more for sure. Clear off. Yo, I'm building a virtual cinema with a movie sync between users and seats for every user, just like we used before the pandemic. I like it. So like a watch together type thing with a virtual cinema where everyone can watch. Oh, I like it. I was just saying, like last week, like, man, I didn't go to a ton of movies, but it would be super fun to go to one now. It just sounds like, I don't care what the movie is, even if I've seen it in a long time. I would love to go in, just for that movie, theater experience for sure. PC Geek, you could set up a Pi and run a VPN on it and set up your certs and stuff and an IP address for the network. Then mail it to M with plugin directories. There you go. Yeah, for sure. That'll work too. Birmingham Seifel, Portaner versus Rancher. Oh man, you're just throwing them out there. You want conversations for sure. Both are great. I'll say that. Both are great. Both can do Kubernetes. Portainer is great for managing local Docker install. I'll say that. It is fantastic. If you want to manage just Docker without having to really fully understand Docker or use the terminal, Portainer is fantastic for that. But they can both do Kubernetes now. So in Portainer 2.0 and Rancher 2.0, both going after Kubernetes, so for sure. But both great products. 5-minute coding. Just saw your YouTube videos. Just want to say great help. Thank you. Hey, yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, awesome. For Vermium Cypher, Rancher versus Cluster versus Project versus, oh man, I can't tell if you're trolling me now. Tinkerfoo, yeah, content helps me a lot. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be wrapping this up because I got to head out, but I'll get through these really quick. I'll try to as quick as I can. Love self-hosting, but when it came time to pick a place to put my keys for an application I still use Google Key Manager. All right. Have you ever done anything in Elastic Stack? I've done some Elastic stuff. Yeah, I have. Yep. Search, Kibana. Yeah. If that's what you mean. I've done some stuff. Haven't managed it a ton. I can write simple queries, use Kibana to do some monitoring and metrics and alerting from it for a large organization. But I was more on the consumer side, right? Like building metric endpoints with the team. And then I was writing the client, and then I helped build metric endpoints, which sent that in to Kibana, which then goes to Elastic, or I think we sent them to both places at the same time. I can't remember. But yeah, I've done some stuff. Am I an Elastic expert? Nah. No, but there's a lot to learn. Let me see here. PC Geek, be sure you have your Discord links or Twitter. Oh yeah, Subroll, thank you. Chris has, check out the ending of the latest video, the clip for a previous stream where he covered spoiler. It's a non-issue. Yeah, there you go. I agree. Spoiler. I wanted to cover that. I mean, people ask it, and I thought, well, what better place to kind of, I don't know. I won't go into it, but you know, it's an easy headline to think like, oh my gosh, like this is terrible. But at the end of the day, things like that are, you know, the people who are building that stuff have a lot of work to do. The people that are, you know, just users of it don't have so much. Hey, Josh Vardy rated. Oh my gosh, Josh Vardy rated with 10 viewers. Welcome 10 viewers from Josh Vardy stream. Really appreciate it. Hey, thanks for the follow. Deva73, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome, Josh. How was your stream? How are people from Josh Vardy stream doing? Josh, how are you doing? How was your stream? How's it going? Obviously, it's over now because you're hosting me, so I really appreciate it. Josh Vardy, I like your lights. Awesome. Well, you can change them. I've even written code so that my viewers can change those lights. So if you don't like this theme is called Tokyo Nights. I have 2 other themes. Anyone with channel points who has earned channel points can change them. And I'll change it now so no one has to burn their points. Because I have infinity points. But yeah, people earn channel points, they can change them. So just a little someone. Now someone changed it back. All right, we both redeemed. All right, we both redeemed Northern Lights. All right, there we go. You guys don't have to burn them. You don't. I was gonna do it for free. I promise this wasn't a ploy to get you to burn points. So. Hey, Link fan. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. So I do have to head out, and I do apologize. Well, I know I just got hosted and rated by Josh, so I really appreciate that. But I was also at the same time wrapping up my stream. So yeah, it's quitting time for a lot of people who started earlier. Not quitting time. I gotta take care of a couple of things. But since you rated me, I think we should pass on the love to someone else. And so let me pull up my screen. Oh, let me make sure that I'm not gonna stream. Oh God, that's what I sound like. Oh gosh. Okay. Let's switch over to here. Let's find someone to raid. So the way that I usually handle this is that, oh my gosh, what button am I clicking on? Here we go. So the way I usually do it is that we find someone in the science and tech that 1 is not a company, 2 not being sponsored, 3 is there and it's not like a machine running something. And 4, someone I haven't rated before. And so I just kind of let the algorithm do its thing. So we've rated CM Griffin before. We've also rated Selly Chill Chi. I don't know about Moose Does Stuff. It doesn't look like Moose is doing stuff now. Maybe Moose is doing stuff. but I'm definitely open to suggestions. CM Griffin is online today again. Yeah, we did CM Griffin before. I kind of want to keep spreading the love for sure. And so what I will do also, well, that didn't work out so good. So let me get this out of here. I'm going to post a couple of things, but I'm open to suggestions. Call out suggestions, and that's who we're going to raid. But I also want to all at the same time get our raid emojis ready. I don't even know. Did I? Oh yeah. Why isn't that pinned? Okay. So I'm gonna post some that you can copy and paste. If you don't have my sub ones, totally fine. Here's some that you can use. And I'll post some more. And then I think yeah. And then you guys have ones. I need the sudo raid because we need sudo raid and we need run as admin raid. If you guys have mine, you could use mine. If you don't, use the ones above. Run as admin, and then DNS. That's always a good one, especially for tech people. There's some you can copy paste or whatever. So who are we going for? Who are we going for? Let's see. Oh, Josh is on the company. Is sponsored in a big stream. You can't rate him. Okay, we're not rating big streams. I mean, we can, but if it's sponsored and you know, I don't know, nothing wrong with that. Like, get your money for sure. I just want to, I want to rate something that we haven't before. PowerShell Enterprise Automation. I don't know anything about that. You guys. Throw one out here. PowerShell Enterprise Animation sounds like a channel where you're like, Ilu, thank you so much. That's what we're going for. So I'm gonna raid. Let's make sure that this person looks like she. I don't see pronouns, but I'm assuming maybe that's not fair. But they. All right, PowerShell Automation. That's who we're going with. I'm gonna raid them. It's gonna start in 10 seconds. 10 seconds after I click the button, and then we'll raid her. Yeah, she's here. So, hey, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Get your raid emojis ready. Thank you so much for everything this week, this weekend, everything. Man, as always, be good to each other. I'll see you in Discord and on Twitter. Thank you so much. Here we go.
So yeah, it is